Community employer in his tribe. He died suddenly. Johnny Bolden is a Cherokee warrior and a member of the Cherokee Nation Color Guard. He also passed recently. Johnny was a true patriot, just like Gary. Johnny lived in the Cherokee way. He not only served the United States Army during Vietnam, but he also joined his fellow veterans of the Cherokee Nation Color Guard volunteer. He will be sorely missed. So this time, let's have a moment of silence. Thank you. And I didn't include, but up at Rocky Ford, Samuel Cummings, he passed last week at the age of 18. He had a long, challenging medical history. He passed on. In Veterans Honors, Joe Grayson is lighting the Christmas tree at the Children's Circle at this moment, so he may be here in a few minutes. So I may hold that till the end. But we had the opportunity this last 2 weeks to help with the renaming of the United States Veterans Affairs Medical Center in Muskogee to be named the Jack C. Montgomery Medical Center. He was named after one of our outstanding citizens, and he received the Congressional Medal of Honor for his valor during World War II. We have a author that's presented a manuscript on Indian Medal of Honor winners. And in the modern age, there's been 9 Congressional Medal of Honor winners since the turn of the 19th century. Of those 9, 8 have been from the 5 civilized tribes, and 4 have been from the Cherokee Nation. And so Jack Montgomery is in a very elite class of people. Now, let me reserve of acknowledging our veterans for just a few minutes. Let me advise you on news of our business operations. I've had the opportunity to go with CNI to Connecticut several weeks ago to Sikorsky Helicopter. We received a major contract from them several weeks ago to do wire harnessing for their helicopters. It was a great opportunity to see their facility. They were very pleased with our performance. We are their largest minority contractor. We're a growing industry, so we're very anxious to do a good job for them, and I'm sure we will. So as they grow, we will grow also. I'm also pleased to announce that the Cherokee Nation has become the first Oklahoma tribe to earn an investment-grade bond rating, and will begin issuing bonds within weeks. I think the bond rating was BBB-. Doug may correct me, or Callie may correct me. But that's an investment grade which will allow us to issue bonds with a lesser interest rate. The bond sales will support the construction of our health care facilities in northeastern Oklahoma. We received the rating due to our stable financial foundation, and we are sticking to our business plan for strong financial flexibility. This rating, the issuance of bonds, and moving forward with our plans to diversify our businesses will continue to strengthen our financial position in the future. In program updates, the Cherokee Phoenix editorial board recently named Brian Pollard as a new editor of the Cherokee Phoenix. Is Brian here tonight? Brian Pollard. It must be a hot story someplace else. Brian is the second editor to serve the Cherokee people under the Cherokee Independent Press Act of 2000. The Cherokee Nation's Compassion Capital Program will begin accepting applications from Cherokee community-based and faith-based organizations in order to help them become more effective in receiving and administering federal grants. The purpose of the funding is to strengthen an organization's capacity to serve their members and their communities. Currently, we have up to 40 sub-awards, and they'll be available through a competitive process with amounts ranging from $5,000 to $25,000. Cherokee Nation is also accepting applications for Low-Income Energy Assistance Program, which we generally call LIHEAP. The program is designed to provide emergency heating aid to applicants who meet eligibility requirements. Each year, approximately 700 applicants receive assistance through this program. The goal of the Cherokee Nation is to provide adequate employment opportunities for Cherokee citizens, and last Thursday, December 7th, was proclaimed Job Fair Day. The Cherokee Nation continues to bring jobs to our communities so our people can stay home, raise their families, and give back to other Cherokees. A family that is self-supporting is an asset to any community and will continue to provide opportunities for Cherokee families to be self-supporting. And Diane Kelly advises me we had a very good turnout last Thursday. Since our last meeting, we also announced Thursday, November 30th, as Methamphetamine Awareness Day in the Cherokee Nation. Methamphetamine not only destroys individual lives and families, but it drives a very destructive economy. It's that time of the year also to make Christmas a little bit brighter for hundreds of children across the tribe's jurisdictional boundaries by hosting the Cherokee Nation Angel Tree Project. Don't forget, if you want to give something other than a gift, you can volunteer your time and purchase and wrap gifts. We have the angel tree out front. I think there's still some more children that need assistance. For information, I've got the numbers 207-3888. We've also recently celebrated the opening of the tribe's new office for the Cherokee Nation Home Health Services north of the Bertha Parker Parkway in Tahlequah. This is a tribal nonprofit corporation organized for the purpose of providing home health services. Those services are divided into three categories: home health and health outreach, and they also provide hospice care for terminally ill patients and their families. It's run by Rick Richards, and he's been there for a good period of time, and he and his staff have helped many in our community in times of extreme stress in families. And we congratulate them on a new facility. Now we have some fun things to talk about in addition to our accomplishments, and that's one that I take joy with is Sequoia. Sequoia just finished their football season, and perhaps to many of us a bit premature. They had the best record of Sequoia in its history with the 11-1 record. They lost in the second round of the playoffs. And I would talk about Vianne's team, but I'm going to allow the good councilman from Sequoia County, the diehard fan, to tell about their great success and how they're marching to the state playoff. C&E started recently selling baseball caps with university letters written in Cherokee. The OU, the OSU, and the NSU's caps are in Celeberry and are ready for use. The OU caps are already sold out in Tusa, and so, Carrie, you'll just have to buy a bunch of those OESU caps to take back to Stillwater. Our cross-country team went to reiterate, won its fourth consecutive state championship in cross-country, the boys did. That makes 9 in the last decade. It's phenomenal. It's unrivaled in the country. Our girls and boys teams have started very well. This week, the best of the best tournament was played in Tulsa, and that is a preseason tournament in which the state champions in each class get to play in a tournament. So you have the small schools and the large schools. And Sequoia was in the finals against the large school class 6A, Sapulpa, who won the state championship last year. And at the end of the third quarter, we were tied, and in overtime, we won. So it was a big victory, and everybody was very excited about that. The boys start in about 2 weeks. It's the Tournament of Champions. Cherokee Nation Enterprises broke ground last week on a $55 million expansion of the casino in West Siloam Springs. The growth of the enterprise in West Siloam Springs will bring new jobs and boost the local economy in the area. We believe it will create about 600 new jobs in the Siloam Springs area when completed. So we're working with the community to supply infrastructure that is needed as that community grows. We've got a cooperative project with the Water District there. The Cherokee National Youth Choir has their 5th CD out called Comfort and Joy. It's a Christmas CD. It's a collection of Yuletide favorites like Jingle Bells and Silent Night. They're translated and recorded in Cherokee. I encourage you to purchase the CD and support the choir and our language. On Monday, December 18th, we'll open the Jack Brown House, which has been remodeled, and for a reception, and the festivities will begin at 6 p.m. I invite everybody to join us, and I think we all are very excited about this event. With the council's support, we've been able to complete the place where we play, our new gymnasium multi-purpose facility at Sequoia. So on December 15th, we'll officially open it to the community. It'll become a place of sportsmanship, leadership, and statesmanship. At 5:30, we'll have a short program, a hog fry. We can't do anything without a hog fry, Madam Chairman. And the first game to be played in the new facility will be an alumni game. And so we're anxiously looking forward to that. And then there'll be several games, intramural squad games for the boys and girls. And the coaches ask that we do it that way to get a sense of community and fellowship before they start competition. The coaches have chosen to play the first game after the holidays. They wanted to practice while in the new gym to get a home court feel to it. So we're very excited about that. If you need information, you can call our education department. Let me go ahead and proceed with honoring our veterans tonight. Tonight we honor 3 veterans. First is Jim Cisco. Mr. Cisco was born in Muskogee in 1946 and graduated from Stillwell High School in 1965. He was enlisted in the Army shortly after high school, served 4 years, was honorably discharged in July of 1969. Jim then volunteered to go to Vietnam and served 2 tours of duty there. Among Jim's awards are the Purple Heart, the National Defense Medal, the RVN Campaign Medal, the RVN Service Medal with 1 Silver Star and 2 Bronze Stars, the Meritorious Unit Citation, the RVN Cross of Gallantry with Palm. After the Army, Jim worked full-time for a year and graduated with a BA from the University of Massachusetts. He presently resides in White River Junction, Vermont, with his wife, Gail. Accepting for him tonight is his sister. And are you here? Would you please come forward? Please. Absolutely. Larry spoke, he's going to accept it. Would you care to say a word on his behalf?
Well, I guess we tried.
Our second honoree tonight is World War II veteran Atha Meggs. Mr. Meggs was inducted into the Army in 1942 and ended up being shipped to Normandy and then to France. Part of the Third Army, Meggs was under the command of General George S. Patton. After successfully taking Metz, France, his company was rushed to Luxembourg to take part in the Battle of the Bulge. After German forces retreated, his company returned to the Third Army to proceed to the Rhine River. Even though his feet were frozen and he could not walk, no one was able to take over radio duties for him, so he wrapped his feet in blankets and continued his duties as they crossed the Rhine River. His resistance was so strong in Heidelberg that the Army pulled back and went another way, through the Alps. In the Australian Alps, they cleared the highways. It was their last assignment before the end of the war in 1945. Mr. Meggs' service then took him on to the Pacific Theater, where he was accidentally injured by a new recruit. Mr. Meggs declined the Purple Heart as well as the Bronze and Silver Star citations. So if you will, join with me in welcoming, honoring Mr. Maggs.
Honorable council, men, women, all of you are honored veterans and service personnel. Those that are serving now, men and women, those in the Korean, Vietnam, and all through. But you've shown special honors, went way beyond, and we really appreciate it. It's good to be here. I'd like to introduce my wife, 59 years. She has my own private board department. God bless all of us. Thank you.
Our active duty military honoree tonight is our own Keith Danner, Jr. Keith is originally from California, enlisted in the Army in 1982, was trained in Georgia and served at 4th Ord and 4th Irwin in California. Keith spent 12 years away from the military. During that time, he attended school to become a paramedic and worked for the Cherokee Nation's EMT program for 7 years. Keith then changed gears a little and went back to school to earn his Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science. He currently works for the Cherokee Nation as an application web developer. Influenced by the events of September 11, 2001, Keith again joined the military and currently serves in Alpha Company, a light infantry company which was deployed to New Orleans to assist with the Hurricane Katrina. During his time with Alpha Company, Keith has successfully completed his air assault school. He's currently a team leader in the 1st Platoon, 1st Squad. In May of 2007, Alpha Company will be deploying for Iraq for an 18-month mission, where Keith will be assigned as a sniper. Keith has earned many awards and achievements during his military career, and let's recognize him tonight. Keith.
First off, I want to say thank you to Chief Smith, Deputy Chief Grayson, who was here, Tribal Council, Assistant to the Cherokee Nation. My boss back there, Tanya Williams. Especially the support of my loving wife, Maggie, my 2 children, and my mother, Hattie Danner, for supporting these endeavors of mine. I'm going to call me away for a year and a half. And I just really feel that it's important that these guys over there know that you guys remember them. I mean, that's one of the things that gets in by on a day-to-day basis. I get to talk to them quite often, and a lot of times the good work that they're doing over here doesn't get accurately reflected back here in the United States. But they want everybody to know that they're trying their hardest and look forward to the day they get to come home. So, thank you very much.
Madam President, I understand we have on our agenda tonight some veto items. If you will allow me to address those at the appropriate time. As I close the State of the Nation, let me share some holiday thoughts with you. We've had a host of Christmas parades in the last 3 or 4 weeks. We remember one in Pryor with 20 degrees and wind chill and bitter, bitter cold. And David Stewart may recall going to Stillwell with us. It was just a delightful picture. They let the Head Starts and the daycares come out during the day. And it's almost like that picture where you see the little blackbirds sitting on the telephone lines. There they were, hundreds of little Indian kids sitting on the curbs waiting for Santa to come across. And it's just a delightful, delightful situation. And it reflects upon us. It reminds us that Christmas is a time for giving. It's a time for understanding how to receive. It's a time for sharing with our children the many blessings that we've received during the year. So to each and every one of you, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We're done.
Thank you, Chief Smith. Next order of business is under unfinished business. There are 3 items which were vetoed by the Principal Chief. And the question before us is whether to sustain his veto or whether to override the veto on each of these 3 items. The first item is a resolution proposing to submit an amendment of the Cherokee Nation Constitution to the Cherokee voters to decide whether the Attorney General should be elected or, as currently required by the Constitution, that the Attorney General be nominated by the Principal Chief and confirmed by the Tribal Council. This item was vetoed by the Principal Chief, and action on the veto has been tabled a couple of times because the case is pending before the District Court as to whether this is the type of resolution the Chief can veto. So the question before us tonight is whether the Tribal Council sustains his veto or supports it, or whether we vote to override.
Madam Speaker,
Yes, Ms.
I move
Hamel.
to sustain or support, uphold Principal Chief's veto of this legislation.
Have a motion to sustain the veto, and did we have a second? Mr. Martin? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Roll call. Yes is to sustain.
Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Taylor Keene,
Yes.
John Keener, Jacob Bob Martin,
Yes.
Linda O'Leary,
No.
Melvina Shotpouch,
Yes.
David Thornton,
Yes.
Kara Cowan Watts,
Yes.
Phyllis Shargy,
Yes.
Bill Anglin,
Yes.
Bill John Baker,
No.
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Audra Connor,
Yes.
Joe Crittenden,
Yes.
Meredith Faley,
Yes.
Don Garvin,
Yes.
Chuck Hoskin.
Yes.
15 yea, 2 nay.
15 yes and 2 no. So the veto is sustained. The second item vetoed by the Principal Chief covers an amendment to the election law. The 99 Constitution requires that Tribal Council establish representative districts reasonably apportioned among the Cherokee citizens. We spent a considerable amount of time on redistricting, and in the November Tribal Council meeting, this amendment passed 12-4. It was vetoed based on a timing concern, residency requirement, and education of the to the Cherokee voters. And the action again is to be taken is whether to sustain the Chief's veto or whether to override. Mr. Baker.
Madam Chairman, I would move to override. There's only going to be more confusion if we don't make a stand here and give the election board something to send out so that people outside the 14 counties can choose a representative district. They have to do it before the first election so that they can, if they want to vote within the 14 counties. And I think it's the Constitution is pretty clear that this council will decide that. We have decided it. We've gone through one veto. A great many people put a lot of work in and came up with as good a plan as I think we can possibly come up with. If we don't override it, I'm convinced that the courts will decide it for us, and it's not their job, it's ours. So I would hope everybody would vote to override the veto.
We have a motion to override. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Martin and then Ms. O'Leary.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I would like to allow my time to Chief Smith his comment, please.
Chief Smith?
Thank you, Madam President. Let me acknowledge first the work of the council and certainly the president of the committee on trying to identify districts. There's several issues here. Our 2003 Constitution indicated the principle of law of one man, one vote. Basically, the principle is that within a district, you vote for the equivalent number of councilmen as other districts. That's not the situation with the Pelham district. That county or district has one councilman, where other districts have two. So there's a legitimate issue there, and I believe the 2003 Constitution was of interest in resolving that. And I acknowledge the hard work and the diligent work of the council in trying to come up with 15 equivalent districts. I'm not convinced that we need 15 districts. It could be a combination of 3 or 5 as long as that principle of law applies, but that's not the basis of my veto. As we all know, our government is a government of 3 branches. The legislative and the executive branch has provisions in passing law. I exercise and executed the authority under the Constitution to veto this measure. And the 2 grounds that I have vetoed this measure is that the council was able to reconcile one of the concerns in my first veto by creating districts that were mathematically relatively the same. So I commend you on that very difficult work. But the problem that I see here is one legal issue, and that is we also have in our books a law that says you must establish residency within that district 270 days before the election. Well, that 270 days has already passed. And so for those folks who want to be candidates and want to run for office, they at this time do not know what the districts are unless they're the old districts, and would be deprived of the right of choosing where to establish their residency to make them eligible for the 2007 elections. Participation in government is a very high and constitutional right. I think it is inconsistent with our laws to pass districting after that deadline has passed. That's a serious and severe legal issue. The other one is a public policy issue. The filing period for these elections is just 3 months away. As we all understand, that one of the abilities to maintain confidence in our government is to have elections that our people can have confidence in. And we have heard back from the Election Commission that it's going to be very difficult to communicate, to advise, and to instruct our voters as to how this next election will be run if they, at this late moment, that they will be thrust from 9 districts to 15, where their precincts are, where they're registered to vote, maintaining the security of where they're voting actually in their district, and the general confusion attendant with redistricting. It's not the same as reapportionment. It's a different issue of redistricting. Because of that, I think it is unwise to create that confusion, invite a lack of confidence in our election process. I would encourage the council to consider, and I would endorse wholly, that if the council were to make this plan effective the day after these elections, so they'd be effective for the next term, I certainly would support that proposition and support the current plan. But I'm very concerned about the lack of confidence and the confusion and disruption that will occur if this act is passed at this late date. And one of the things that also figures into this issue is that it's my understanding and belief that we have it's a rare occasion, but we have a friendly lawsuit coming. I think the council's attorney and the general counsel, the attorney general, have visited about filing tomorrow a declaratory judgment action that would ask the court to decide a number of issues, 8 or 9 issues. One of those issues are the legal issues attendant to this plan. The idea of one man, one vote, the idea of the 270-day residency requirement. And so to have closure in this issue is going to take weeks, if not months. So again, the public policy of disruption, confusion, and lack of confidence in our elections is a paramount concern to me. Again, I commend the council on its hard work on this issue. If this had been presented 3 or 4 months ago, perhaps there had been enough time to have conducted that education and instruction. But at this late juncture, that's the grounds for my veto, and I appreciate your consideration.
Ms. O'Leary?
Is this I put forth to override this.
We have a motion and a second. We're in discussion.
I didn't have my
No, okay, all right. Any other, Mr. King?
Yes, Madam Chair, I feel like you had a wonderful opportunity through your direction to try to help support a plan here for redistricting. And we're engaged today in a wonderful exercise of nation building. We're one of the few tribal nations in the United States to actively go through and bolster our democratic process by looking at our Constitution. One of the mandates from that was to look at redistricting. And I think a lot of us feel like this is the best that we could have done. Will the outcome of our choice tonight pose challenges for the Election Commission and other citizens? Yes, it will. Change is difficult. I believe that the intention of some of the founders of the Constitution on this issue were to equal out the balance of power, to change politics as usual, and that's what this measure will do. And while it may cause some inconvenience and some confusion, I have full faith in our Election Commission that they will come out with a good plan of implementation, and they will get that word out to everyone so everyone will know which district they vote in. This does not keep any Cherokee from running for office. It might change what district they might be in, but it does bring us to the constitutional measure of one person, one vote, and equal number size districts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Ms. Calwatts, and then Mr. Henry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. At this time, in the research that I was provided, there is nothing that compels us to act on this prior to the upcoming election, either in the Constitution, the constitutional meeting records, the minutes of the Constitutional Convention, nor the answer from the Supreme Court that did compel the Constitution to be adopted, our Cherokee Nation Supreme Court. So we're in a whole lot of hurry for no reason, in my mind. And the other thing that I have great concern over, and this council was given, even though there was a lot of work done, I still have I may be a minority in this, and I apparently was because it was voted upon and never adopted, and I think the proper data has not been used here. So though on appearance we have apportioned correctly in that the districts seem to be somewhat evenly distributed, they're evenly distributed on the wrong data. And I want to reiterate this because everybody needs to understand, especially those up north, we are being shorted Cherokee tribal citizens, especially in Rogers County, where about 2,000 Cherokees are not counted using the data that was utilized to apportion these 15 districts. So therefore, Cherokee County suddenly gains 3 seats, and we lose part of Rogers County based on the wrong data. And I think that's the wrong thing to do. The data that should have been used was the data that me as a Cherokee citizen, let's say I live in Collinsville, Oklahoma, which is part of Rogers County and part of Tulsa County, but I know I exist in Rogers County, but the 911 addressing may be off, or the assumptions made in GIS were exactly that, they were assumptions. They don't place me in Rogers County, they place me in Tulsa County. But I knew at the time I registered for my blue card, I marked Rogers County because who's going to know best where I live? It would be me. And instead, they made assumptions based on P.O. boxes and other things which allowed for inappropriate apportionment towards Cherokee County. And that means somewhere somebody lost out. Because we're in a hurry for no reason in my mind. We need to put way more thought into this, and we need to give the Cherokee citizens and the Election Commission adequate time to deal with this. And we don't have it now, whether it's the February 10th special election or whether it's our June 23rd regular election that's been scheduled for quite some time. I just don't have a reason, I'm not compelled to act so quickly when we have a lot of unanswered questions around how we're supposed to appropriately do this. And it's not that I don't appreciate the time that this council has put into it or the work that our staff has done, but we are not doing the right thing if we continue to redistrict for this upcoming election in this method. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any other questions or comments? Todd? Mr. Ingram?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to make the point clear that I didn't want the council to be confused or anyone at home to be confused. The passage of this act is not going to prevent one person from running for office. It's not going to change anyone's address. They will allow, everyone will be allowed to run for council. What it may change is that what it would change is that it would not allow someone to move somewhere else to establish residency in run for council. And I want to make that point clear.
Mr. Baker?
And nobody has said that this is perfect. It just happens to be the best set of data that administration's people can come up with the data banks that we have. And the truth is, if Rogers County picked up 2,000, they still wouldn't pick up a seat. And the seat didn't come from Rogers County. Even if you used that set, it would not change the representation in Rogers County. They actually had to take some of Rogers County away to give it to Tulsa County in this plan. And it's the best plan we can come up with. Probably the sharpest mind in the Cherokee Nation that deals with these numbers every day agreed that there was not a better plan available than the one that they used. So I call for the question.
Question's been called. Ms. Watts-Heller, do you have that comment?
Just a brief comment.
I will.
Thank you. So that folks who maybe don't deal with data every day, as a tribal citizen, you should ask yourself this question. Rogers County alone is off 2,000 voters, then what are the other counties off, and how are you being shorted in this plan? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Mr. Gordon?
Yes, thank you. The way I feel about this is that the judicial courts over here retroactive this Constitution back to 2003. Whether it was to help them or help anybody else, I don't know. But we've got a Constitution there now that we've got to follow. And I feel that this council has followed that Constitution as close as they possibly could. We've got to set at large 2 council people. Are we going to follow the Constitution on voting for those people? If we do, are we going to pick and choose whatever we want? We've got to follow that Constitution, people. And that's the way I look at this thing. And if we don't follow that Constitution, there'll be more than one lawsuit. I can guarantee you that. It'll be a bunch. Thank you.
The question has been called by Mr. Baker.
Is this vote to override? Yes, to override.
Yes. Mr. Baker made the motion and Mr. King seconded to override the veto.
So yes, it's to override.
Yes, it's to override, yes. And roll call vote.
Chuck Hoskin,
Yes.
Bill Johnson,
No.
Taylor King,
Yes.
Johnny Keener,
Yes.
Jack Bob Martin,
No.
Linda O'Leary,
Yes.
Nevada Shophouse,
No.
David Thornton,
Yes.
Carrie Cowan Watts,
No.
Phyllis Yargy,
Yes.
Bill England,
No.
Bill John Baker,
Yes.
Jack Baker,
No.
Audra Connor,
Yes.
Joe Crittenden,
Yes.
Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Don Garvin.
Yes.
11 yes and 6 no. The veto is overridden.
Madam Speaker?
No, what's your name? Well, only 11. Mr. Baker?
I would make a suggestion that that be part of the deck action to tell us specifically whether it is 11 or 12.
Okay, agree?
We can make that work.
All right, moving on to the third veto is covers the modification of 2007 fiscal year budget. The concerns center around the second bonus for government employees, and they were awarded a bonus recently, and this mod proposes a second bonus in the same fiscal year. And there was a second concern, but I think we have, do you want to change that, Mr. Thornton?
Yes, if this act is overridden, first letter of business is to make the state championship ring for the Zion Cherokee cheerleaders out of this act. And I'll make that motion, but I'll make it just as soon as this is passed. But I want you to realize that these rings were for Cherokees. Thank you.
I entertain a motion in a second, and then we'll have discussion.
To override.
Motion to override, second. Mr. Baker?
Yes, please.
Okay, discussion. Mr. Baker, you have your hand up.
Yes, if I could. I know that it sits there and says that this is the second bonus in only a few months, but it is not a second bonus. This is the rest of what we believe was the first bonus. There was $2.1 million that this council passed to be divided up among 2,100 employees. When C&E gives their bonuses, they don't take IDC, they don't take Fringe Pool, and neither did the Cherokee Nation have to. There was, of the $2.1 million, $462,741.43 was taken out for the Fringe Pool, which is for insurance premiums. It's for it's for insurance premiums, it's for days off, paid days leave, sick leave, those kinds of items, which not a single employee got an extra day of sick leave. Not a single employee got an extra day off. Not a single employee had another insurance premium paid for them. And this money was taken out for naught. They also took IDC. And I guess the only thing that we really did for them in the IDC pool was write the checks for them. And to take $315,000 out of the Cherokee employees' pockets to write their check to them, I think it's unconscionable. Never was this second amount of money considered a second bonus. It was making good on what we believed we were doing for our Cherokee people to start with. Now we can sit here and say that it's the biggest bonus the Cherokee Nation has ever paid, and here we're going to give a second one on top of it, but let's look at some numbers here. If you're an hourly employee at the Cherokee Nation Enterprises, your average bonus last year was $1,700. If you were a salaried employee at C&E, your average bonus was $9,000. And we're worried about $300 to the rest of our hard-working, loyal employees of Cherokee Nation. And, I'm a spendthrift trying to give our money away to buy votes. I don't think so. I'm trying to do what's right for our employees. True, many of them are pleased. This was the first bonus that they ever got. And they got their $615. But to make it right, we need to go ahead and give them the other $300. And it's in here to do it, along with the rest of the mod package. David's already told you that he's already made arrangements for the rings. The rings were 13 girls, and 12 of them were Cherokee, and I don't know that was wrong, but he's made other arrangements, and you can stand up for the employees that are all over the 14 counties that deserve this other $300 that was wrongfully withheld from their first check. And we make it right, we make it right tonight, and go on about our rat killing. Thank you.
Mr. Martin?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to yield my time to the Chief Committee.
Thank you very much. I guess I have a disagreement with the big council, but I do think it's political vote buying. And be very blunt about that. Let's just go back to the history of this raise. The year before, we had capped our raises at 3% because of uncertainty with the federal budget and the volatility of our gaming. This year, in the budget the administration sent to the council, we asked for another 2% to be set in a pool, equivalent to those raises in previous years. The council, rather than have it be merit-based, asked and passed through the budget process that it be paid across the board. Oddly, when the budget materials got to the full council, there was a notation in the budget attachment that said $1,000 per person. And I think Councilman Yardley pointed this out very clearly in the discussions in the past. There was never any resolution to suggest or say that employees got $1,000 apiece. The resolution was very clear, to be paid across the board, rather than on a merit basis. The idea that this is a wrongful taking out of the gross payment to an employee is based upon fantasy. Every compensation we pay to employees bears the equal amount of fringe benefits in IDC. That's a federal law, that's our accounting practice, and that's the regulations. Now, to advocate that we violate our own laws and federal law is unconscionable. If we go back and look at the history of this bonus, it was paid timely. Employees appreciated it. But it's a big difference between what C&E paid. C&E's base salary is a base salary with a ongoing bonus or incentive pay. They get it paid quarterly. And unlike the payment that we made to our employees, it was a performance bonus. It was based upon a 3% pool based upon the profitability of each property. If that property made money, they got a bonus. If it lost money, they didn't. If it made very well, they got more. If they made less, they got less. And that was based upon a property-by-property performance. So it was a performance incentive. And it was based and is based upon your salary. So if you make a bigger salary, the percentage you get is bigger than if you make a smaller salary. And also there's a component in it that provides for longevity. The longer you've been there, it's weighted to allow for a bigger performance bonus. So we're comparing apples and oranges when we talk about this bonus we gave the Cherokee Nation employees and C&Es. So when the proposal got over here and the budget said $1,000, that was not true. Just fundamentally not true. We paid it out. And one of the things that I have to question that occurred in the last council meeting was a statement that by one councilman says, "Madam Chairman, I don't know that if anybody promised the employees $1,000. Well, if I recall, and perhaps Muskogee Phoenix can correct me here, that a councilman complained that he did not have the opportunity to address their employees on that issue, that they were going to get their $1,000 head bonus. And in fact, that email was subsequently released, and that email I can provide for each of you, gone to every one of our employees, says this: the $1,000 bonus is part of the 2000 Comprehensive Budget Act. The council voted the $1,000 employee bonus. The $1,000 is above and beyond the merit pool. It is felt to give an across-the-board $1,000 employee bonus. And I hope you see that the FY 2000 budget is passed as is, and so you can get your $1,000 employee bonus. So the representation that there was not a promise to deliver $1,000 per employee, I question. In this instance, our employees have been compensated. They've acknowledged that we acknowledge their contribution. This is a double bonus, and it is transparently given on the eve of an election. And if we are to have the confidence of our Cherokee people, when we pay compensations according to the law, and it's not veiled on the eve of an election. So, Madam President, I'd be glad to respond to any questions about the basis of my veto.
You have any questions? Mr. Archie, do you have a question for Mr. Smith?
Yes, I have comments.
Okay, go ahead.
I appreciate the chief's pointing out that I was the one who asked specifically questions about the language, and it said it was $1,000. I made that comment sort of on the advice of our attorney, and he says that sometimes our legislation is miscommunicated and that we need to be specific. We want purple cows bought in Adair County, and we need to say buy purple cows in Adair County. So, my question was then, if it does not say specifically $1,000 per employee, and I guess I should have said, we need to say $1,000 per employee, because evidently it wasn't taken that way, and we needed to clarify what the intent was. But I think that anybody could go and look at the minutes, and the discussion says $1,000 per employee. I don't think, I agree with the chief, I think that the employees were happy with what they got. I think we need to quit arguing about it. But I think that we also need to recognize that $1,000 in this day and age doesn't go very far. I can buy a tank of gas for a year on $1,000 to get to work at Cherokee Nation coming from Gore, Oklahoma. That's about as far as it goes. So, and that's without going anywhere else but to Telequan back. We have a reputation of keep adding money to projects that don't get finished on time, that are accountable, and I think that we can give our employees $1,000. I don't think it's going to break the bank. I don't think they're going to expect it each and every time. I don't think that, I think that if we want them to be in celebration of the activities that the Cherokee Nation are doing, then that helps them to celebrate the accomplishments of the gaming facilities that we have as well. I think that really helps them to see that what we are doing is spreading our success around, and that a lot of that money, I beg to differ, it does go into housing, it does go into education, it does go into health for our employees, families, and their homes and children. And the money is Probably some of it's spent back in our gaming facilities, going back in the Cherokee Nation pot again, redistributed out in the communities again. And the second point, and I know we're off topic here, but the buy-in rings. Someone suggested that we take that out of our community assistance funds. Folks, there's no difference between that money and the pot that it's coming out of. It's still Cherokee Nation money. It's Cherokee money. Who better to celebrate the success of our young people than the Cherokee people themselves? I think that would have been a great thing. You know, I'm not a sponsor of a cheerleading. I never had a cheerleader. I don't have daughters. I've never been a cheerleader. But if that's something that helps students feel good about themselves and successful, then why can't we spend $3,200 to encourage them to go out, step outside of the box and do things that are not traditionally what Cherokee young women and men do. I think that I know a couple of the girls, the ladies, I don't know them personally, but I recognized a couple of names. And to think of their parents, you would never imagine that these girls would be cheerleaders. You couldn't even get their parents to say 2 words to you. Now these girls are out in the center of a field cheering and yelling and showing school spirit. I think that's quite an accomplishment. And I think if we can promote that and perpetuate that, that's what we're here to do. So thank you for giving me the time.
Mr. Baker and then Ms. Watts.
Yes, Phyllis, good job. I appreciate you. Probably one of the first disagreements the chief and I had was almost 4 years ago when the bonus pool came out 3%. I didn't think it was fair then. I don't think it's fair now. I think there's those that get little or nothing. I think some at the top get way more than they should. And so this isn't a Johnny-come-lately deal. We went back and forth at least 3 years ago, and we can find those emails as well. Did I believe that when we passed the budget that the employees were going to get $1,000? You bet I did. And you can bet I'm going to do everything I can to get it to them. And I just hope that this council will stand up. And I mean, you say that the CNE is based on 3%, but it's not. Our payroll here is more than CNE's payroll, and their bonuses were $10 million last year, and our bonuses are and merit pool added together are 2.6. So I mean, the employees work just as hard here at the Nation as they do elsewhere. I'm not saying CNE employees don't deserve bonuses. They're making us lots of money, but we need to spread it around and take care of our own right here at home. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Watts.
Call for the question, Madam Speaker.
Call for the question. Mr. O'Leary had a comment on you.
Okay, I didn't know there was anyone else.
You know, this, and I agree. I don't care for anybody getting bonuses. If it goes to our Cherokee people for the hard work they've done, that's where it should go. But in essence, what this means, when CNE is giving out over $10 million worth of bonuses, here at the tribe, I put forth legislation after pieces of legislation that's been voted down and not accomplished, getting back millions back into the tribe for health care, water wells, eyeglasses, dentures, contract health services, and the like. And at $10 million in bonuses that's been given out, and we know our casinos make a lot of money. We know that bottom line, we still have lots and lots and lots of money. And compared to what the tribe gets in the projection of what we get now, which is 30%, the $10 million is actually, we probably got around 23 to 25 million last year. The year before that, probably around 18 million. So in bonuses at that our facility, C&E, they're giving out almost, or half at least, of what our tribe gets back in dividends, and I think that's a dirty, rotten shame. I think it's a dirty, rotten shame. Our people need services. You know, when I'm out in the community, what I'm asked? What I'm asked when I go to the grocery store, when I stop by my gas, hey, you got all those casinos out there. We don't have houses. Where's our money going? Show us where our money's going.
Point of order.
And that's what I hear time and time again. And that's what I think that our people want to know is where our money is going.
Linda, just a moment.
Point of order, relevance to the motion on the table.
I'm making a statement to the relevance of it, and I think our people are entitled to money back into services, and I think that the people here, our employees here at the tribe, need their bonuses.
Thank you, Ms. O'Leary. Anyone else? Mr. Crittenden?
Just a quick comment. It's concerning the range for the cheerleaders. Part of the comment on the veto says the range are for an accomplishment unrelated to the nation by a group representing an Oklahoma public school. If I just read that, I would almost think they might be illegal aliens or something. It says here that they can't buy rings or whatever for every association or group which has a Cherokee participant, like there might be one on the team. You know, this group of kids was all Cherokee, as I understand it, except for one. And the other thing, when the Cherokee Nation folks can't get a bonus that we thought we were getting for them, which compared to C&E, 40% of the bonuses, or the money that we got to help run our programs, went to people in bonuses. And I'd be curious to know how many of those folks that got those rather large bonuses were actually Cherokee. I mean, I don't know. You know, it sounds to me, it kind of reminds me of the scripture that talks about swallowing camels and straining out gnats. I think it just depends on who's interpreting things here. That's just a comment.
Chief, did you have your hand up?
Yes, perhaps we can put the discussion to rest, but I think the Cherokee people would have more confidence also if they understood that the recipient of these rings were not grandchildren of the council. That disturbs the confidence of the people if they would do that.
The question has been called. The motion is by Ms. O'Leary is to override, and seconded by Mr. Baker. Yes is to override. Roll call.
Jackie Bob Martin,
No.
Linda O'Leary,
Yes.
Nevada Shop Pouch, David Thornton,
Yes.
Carol Cowan Watts,
No.
Phyllis Yargy,
Yes.
Bill Anglin,
No.
Bill John Baker,
Yes.
Jack Baker,
No.
Audra Connor,
Yes.
Joe Crittenden,
Yes.
Meredith Fraley,
No.
Don Garvin,
No.
Chuck Hoskin,
Yes.
Bill Johnson,
No.
Taylor Keene,
Yes.
Johnny Keener.
Yes.
10 yeas, 7 nays.
10 yes, 7 no. The motion, the veto is sustained.
Since we're still on this agenda item, I'd like to make a motion to approve that budget modification without the rings for the buy-in cheerleaders and without the bonus for the Cherokee Nation employees.
Second motion.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Baker?
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
you take 2/3 to amend the agenda for a new item like that. Is that correct?
Madam Speaker.
Any question for Mr. Henry?
This, to answer your question in the vacuum, yes, it takes 2/3 to amend the agenda. This is, let me see the agenda here real quick.
Mine would be a separate motion on the same item.
the action of unfinished business as an act amending Legislative Act 2606, and authorizing the comprehensive budget on Mod 1. It's a judgment up to the chairman if we're on that agenda topic to allow her motion. Her motion to amend would be a majority vote.
Motion to amend is, and state your amendment again.
My motion would be to take the number 3 on unfinished business and approve it as written, except we removed the rings for the body and cheerleaders, as well as the bonus, the line items within the budget modification, the bonus for the Cherokee Nation employees.
Did we have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Mr. Thornton?
Yes, I've got one comment, and I heard something about a grandchild here a while ago. And a grandchild is a second degree. And I would challenge some of these people that sit in this room. How many second degree people is in their family that they've received a bonus or merit raise within this nation? I think you need to think about some of your family.
You're directing your attention to me, Mr. Thornton. I have no children that work for the Cherokee Nation.
Second degree.
I have no children, no brothers, no parents, no parents.
Just a moment, please. Where's my pad? We have a motion on the floor to amend. It'll take 2/3. No, a majority.
You accept her motion?
Yeah, put it on me, Todd.
We are on an agenda item that is on the, we are on a topic that is on the agenda. If you accept her motion, that's a decision of the chair. And she is amending an act that is on the agenda, and to amend takes
The majority is,
it takes the majority. You're amending the act that is on the agenda.
the majority is what, 8 or 9?
Madam Speaker?
Yes.
Madam Speaker,
Ms. Cameron?
to answer your question, Ms. Eda, I guess the majority would be 9 and 17 because you can't have a fraction. But my motion is to accept this with the amendment. So there's not a separate friendly amendment. It would just be, if a yes would be to accept the budget mod with the
those two
amendments,
items.
the removal,
Removed.
and then a no would be to fail. And after that, it's up to further discussion.
Okay, roll call vote. Yes is to approve as is with 2 exceptions, the rings and the bonus.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I appeal the ruling of the chair.
Okay. The appeals the ruling. Right now what, Todd?
Well, the grounds are, I don't believe that under old business, you can resurrect and come up. It's been voted up or down. You can't amend old business. It was a veto, and it was voted down, and I do not believe it's proper to resurrect it in that form.
Okay. And he has appealed, and your decision was to accept the motion. So therefore, he has stated his reason for the chair, to appeal the decision of the chair. The chair has a right to state why he or she allowed that motion.
You keep putting it back on me.
And then, after that, it's non-debatable. It's a simple question. Shall the decision of the chair be the decision of the body? Yes, you're voting in favor of the chair. No, you're voting against the chair. If you wish to make a statement, you can do so right now.
That's why I accepted her motion.
Right.
Okay. I accepted her motion because I think it's a fair motion. We've debated those 2 particular items over and over. So that's my reasoning for accepting her motion. Mr. Chief.
Perhaps I'm confused, and perhaps part of the public's confused. What is really the result of this? I think the result is that we put back on the agenda those items like water lines and such that were rejected as part of the package. So I think that's the ultimate purpose of this exercise, so we can get those things, which I don't know that there's any controversy about, water lines and I forget what the other things were.
Mr. Baker?
If we're in debate, well, and I understand, but
Call for question.
Question's been called. All in favor of the decision of the chair signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Oh. Roll call.
yes is to...
Yes, is that you accept my decision.
Yeah.
I think so, because I voted to override the chair.
Okay, yes, it's to override the chair. Yes, it's to override. All right, now get up here. Bill, don't be
Under Robert's Rules of Order, the question is put to the body, shall the decision of the chair be the decision of the body? Yes, you're voting in favor of the chair. No, you're voting against the chair.
All right. Yes, you're voting in favor of the chair's decision. Okay, roll call.
Joe Anglin,
Yes.
Bill John Baker,
No.
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Audra Connor, Joe Crittenden,
No.
Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Don Garvin, Chuck Hoskin,
No.
Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Taylor King,
No.
Johnny Keener, Jackie Ball Martin,
Yes.
Linda O'Leary,
No.
Melvina Shophouse, David Thornton,
No.
Carol Kine Watts,
Yes.
Gilda Shargey,
No.
Audra Connor.
No.
Seven yea, 10 nay.
7 yes, 10 no.
So therefore, the decision of the chair was not the decision of the body. Her motion is not recognized. If you wish to amend the agenda later on in the meeting, you may do so.
Thank you. Everybody clear? Thank you. Okay, next is committee reports.
Madam
And-
Chair,
Yes,
before
Mr.
we move on, would we like to introduce Junior Miss Cherokee? What she's been up there for quite a while.
Is she part of the,
Well, no, I was just hoping that
oh, you just want to
you would
introduce
allow
her?
that.
Sure.
She'd like to come forward.
This is Miss Danielle Culp from Claremore, Oklahoma.
As she said, my name is Danielle, and I'm the reigning Junior Miss Cherokee for 2006-2007. We also did the tree lighting ceremony tonight, where it was a lot of fun. It was short and sweet, and it went really well. And thanks for introducing me and recognizing me tonight.
Thank you for coming. Okay, next order of business is committee reports, the Housing Authority, Mr. Sutherland. Oh, Mr. Martin, now
Thank
what?
you, Madam Speaker. Could we take care of just a little more business before we get into this?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to add, Mrs. Kara Powell Fox to the board committee.
Have a second?
Second.
We're adding Ms. Calm-Watts to the Resource Committee. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Mr. Sutherland, where are you? You were hiding back there.
Fire alarm going off outside there. Good evening. A brief report this evening. Our December board meeting will be held a week from tomorrow night on the 19th at the Allen Hogner Conference Room. Got a very light agenda for the board at that meeting. We've moved into our new Salisaw office building a couple weeks ago. We're getting the bugs worked out of it, but we're really glad to be in the new building. We'll have a formal ribbon cutting in a few weeks after the holidays. Our auditors began their on-site work today. I think they'll be on-site a couple of weeks and expect to complete an audit by to the latter part of January. Last week I attended NAIHC's legal conference. There was a special business meeting which took up the census data issue. Wasn't a whole lot accomplished, but the membership approved a request to Congress to fully fund the current method of allocation so no tribe receives less than their fiscal year's 2006 amount. There was also a resolution passed by a narrow vote, like 86 to 82, so kind of see how divided the issue is made to membership. Narrow vote that supports the notion that each tribe should choose the data set that best reflects their tribal area's population. That resolution was put forth by our region, the Southern Plains region, and it was simply an attempt to point out that each tribe should make their own decisions regarding how to determine membership. We thought it was common sense. We didn't expect it to be that close of a vote. But this has been a very frustrating topic that's been bannered around since about August of 2003, and I sure hope that something gets resolved in 2007, because I'm tired of dealing with it, because it's very likely that tribal leaders at NCAI this is going to get dumped in their lap at some point, I'm pretty sure. Our Christmas dinner is this Friday at the Tahlequah City Armory Annex. We'll start dinner around noon. I'd extend an invitation to the council and to the administration to come by and join us if you can. We'll be having some training sessions early in the morning for employees. With that, that's my report for this evening. I'd be glad to try to answer questions if anyone has any.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Southern?
A week from tomorrow night, Tuesday the 19th.
Thank you.
5:30.
Questions or comments? If not, thank you, Mr. Southern.
Thank you. Merry Christmas if I don't see you.
Merry Christmas to you. Next is David Stewart, Cherokee Nation Enterprises. Good evening, Mr. Stewart.
Good evening, Madam Speaker and Council. I'm pleased to report an excellent financial report for October. It was not a record month, but it was, I would say, in the top 5 or 6, so we continue to see great results. In addition to the $2.5 million that we paid in dividends for the month, we paid approximately $75,000 in sales tax as a result of our retail and food sales. I can't say enough about the effort of our employees, and they're doing an excellent job providing great customer service to our customers. Our Native American employment is up at 73%. Cherokee employment is about 60%. The projects are going well. We have the parking garage that's making its way up to the sky. And of course, our groundbreaking at West Siloam. And we also rebuilt the track at Will Rogers Downs. As we go into the second season of racing starting in February, we're going to provide our horsemen a great track, so we're excited about that. Our employees pulled another great feat this month for our troops. They contributed about 10,000 items of a personal nature, chapstick and those things that our troops could use every day. And our chef and staff made 10,000 cookies that we shipped over to Iraq. So it was quite an effort, and I think Joe Grayson helped with that effort. So my congratulations to our staff for their hard work. They did that on their personal time. That concludes my report. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Mr. Martin, you have a question?
Mr. Stewart, curiosity's got the best of me. You know how that is. Mm-hmm. There's a debate a while ago about the bonus situation. There was a number that was mentioned several times, $10 million toward bonuses. It's $10 million. Is that done annually or explain that to us?
Okay, there's 2 bonus pools. One is paid to our hourly employees based on financial performance every quarter. And also our salary employees have that same plan. The executive bonuses are not paid until the year end. You have to be employed at the end of the year in order to get it, so it's not a quarterly. But it is a combination of just performance. It's also, at least at some level, part of the annual pay that our people receive.
Well, does this total up to $10 million?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Mr. Stewart? Mr. Anglin?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. David, on the same thing, do you hold taxes out of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do. And it's every year we go through a compensation survey, and we have ranges for all of our staff. And if you're in a certain range, then the bonus pool would be somewhat calculated to equate to a range for that employee. So if that helps.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else?
There's no saying you need to stay out of a gunfight. The guy in the middle always gets shot. So sit down if you'll let me. That's a Sequoia County term. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
Okay, thank you.
Cherokee Nation Industries, Mr. Collins. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening, Madam Speaker and members of the council. Sales year-to-date at the end of November are $43 million, which is 20% greater than the same time frame last year. Profitability is estimated at $1 million currently. Currently, the employment status for the Tahlequah-Stillwell area, we have 272 employees at 92% Native American, which is a great feat for our staff, and we recognize that. Some of the current events, we had a children's Christmas party where we had provided somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 gifts to the employees' children's. 200 children showed up, and it was great. Had Santa Claus there, and kids really love that. It's been an event that's been going on for the past few years. The Stillwell Parade, C&I took first at the Stillwell Parade, where we had a lot of employees jump in there and help make things happen. And we did lose a great employee, Gary Johnson, that the chief had mentioned. And Gary's going to be missed in the community and at work. I also like to extend an appreciation to the chief for going to Connecticut. It was a very valuable meeting, a good opportunity. And I would like to advise the council that we have finalized our deal with Sikorsky. Our contracts have been finalized. And we were awarded a $22.5 million contract for the next 7 years. This will ensure and stabilize the workforce for a period of time for a certain amount of employees. We have added staff. We are ramping up. Products will start shipping in January. And that is just the beginning point. And what makes this such a unique award is that this was not a set-aside. This was not 8A. This was an international competition where Cherokee was selected in an open compete and was selected as a top bidder internationally. This was also Sikorsky's largest single award for an outsource that they have ever given in the history of their company. Sikorsky is a very large company. They are part of United Technologies. United Technologies has approximately 220,000 employees. We have great opportunity by meeting their expectations and exceeding those expectations for more work from Sikorsky and their other divisions. So this was a great accomplishment for the quality and the history of the Cherokee Nation Industries. We do have several other large contracts we're pursuing that we have been narrowed down to. So we are pursuing those hot and heavy because part of the goal is creating the jobs in the Stillwell, Tahlequah area and also in the 14 counties. So again, I appreciate it. Appreciate all the support. Our next board meeting is scheduled for December 19th at 3 o'clock in Stillwell in the IT Data Center. And this completes my report. Any questions?
Comments? Is your award for, what is the award for? I mean, what kind of work will they be doing?
The MH-60S, it's a military contract. It's another version of the Black Hawk. It is the electronic wiring harness. It's the main, what they call the main harness. I'm going to call it the backbone harness that runs through the entire aircraft. And they're ramping up, and they expect 2 of those a month. and then they'll be ramping up even more. It has over 4,000 connecting points, or test points.
Congratulations, Brian. Great.
And employees are proud.
Any other questions or comments, Mr. Collins? Appreciate your report.
Thank you.
Next report is Cherokee Nation Businesses, Callie Ketcher. Evening, Ms. Ketcher.
Good evening, Council. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. Give you a brief update on C&B. One of the biggest items for this month is we completed Phase 2 of our environmental services company by purchasing 51% of Cheryl Konauer's existing company, CRC. This will give us additional capacity to expand on our operation. As you're aware, we've had a very successful first year with this joint venture that we started last year. Our investment was returned in less than 12 months. C&B has been building capacity over the last year, and with our successes with Cherokee CRC and some of the work we're doing with the other entities, I think we'll continue to see growth in the areas of diversification. Our board meeting is scheduled for this Friday at 1 p.m. at the C&B offices. We will be having our board members by teleconference, but any of the council members that can attend, we'd be happy to have you in our offices in Catoosa. That's my report. If anyone has any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Any questions, comments for Ms. Ketcher? Yes, not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next order of business is old business. There being none, we'll move on to new business. The first item is a resolution that authorizes our environmental programs to submit a grant to the EPA for an exchange network grant. Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would move for approval, and I would like to read the narrative if you allow me.
Yes, please. Moved and seconded.
Excuse me. This resolution, EPA and its partners are working together to develop a nationwide environmental information exchange network. The exchange network will provide environmental information to allow leaders to make more informed decisions about human health and the environment. The grant will seek funds for the following activities: develop Cherokee Nation water quality monitoring data to place on the exchange network, work with the intertribal environmental council members to try to foster the exchange network effort. The funding agency is U.S. EPA. Grant amount is $400,000 and no match required.
Is that all?
Yes, thank you.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. The second item is a resolution authorizing Cherokee Nation Enterprises to submit a grant application to the Department of Energy. Mr. Martin?
Madam Chair, if you allow me, I would ask you to allow Council Lady Watt to speak on this.
Ms. Count Watts?
Thank you, Councilman Martin and Speaker Fraley. I'd like to make a motion to include both 2 and 3 in total and pass those as written. If I'll get a second.
Moved and second. Any discussion on these items?
I'd like, for the public, I'd like to clarify, because I'm excited to be part of, and supportive of our wind energy project at Chilocco on that property. The first grant is to the Department of Energy, or DOE, as part of the program feasibility of renewable energy projects on tribal lands, which that is trust land at Chilocco. And specifically, these grant monies are to do the cultural studies, the archaeological studies to make sure that we're not placing anything inappropriately, as well as the technical studies on transmission and those kind of things. The second grant is to the Department of Interior through their program for energy and mineral development program? And is it a broader level for the wind studies? Do we have enough wind to enable this project, as well as economic feasibility? The end goal of this wind project is to see how we can subsidize not only maybe our casino facilities, but our travel facilities for alternative energy, thus saving the tribal people money, as well as doing the right thing when it comes to our environment. So I would like to also recognize Carol Wyatt, who is our grant writer for CNE, who is responsible for this project. If you'll just stand, please. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the question.
Question's been called, and we are voting on items 2 and 3 in toto. Is that correct?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, item 4 is an act amending our Game and Fish Code to establish provisions for hunting and fishing. Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to, we're going to make a motion to approve this, but I'd like to speak to this.
Second. Moved and seconded.
This effort, venture, however we want to describe it, headed up by Janine Hale and her group, and I don't know how many people, and I don't know how many hours and days and months that they've worked on this legislation. The council has looked at it, studied it, studied it, worked on it, and we've had several community meetings out in our district, having our Cherokee citizens input on this piece of legislation, and I know the council was much in favor of it, but I would like to read the narrative for the audience here. The act contains the Cherokee Nation hunting and fishing code. The code is modeled after corresponding Oklahoma laws, with changes made to adapt to the unique needs of the tribe. The passage of this code will provide guidelines for hunting an Indian country where none exist today. It will promote the conservation of the nation's fish and wildlife resources and is an important exercise of sovereignty. This code will also provide a foundation that will enable the nation to negotiate with state wildlife officials and the governor's office concerning specific issues and concerns. Thank you, Madam.
Yes. Any other discussion? Any other discussion?
Call for the question.
Question's been called. It is an act. Roll call vote.
Move to pass by acclamation.
I'm sorry?
Move to pass by acclamation.
A motion to move to pass by acclamation. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Item 5 is a resolution that authorizes engineering and sanitation to submit a grant application to the EPA to correct conditions for the Hulbert and Warner wastewater project. Ms. Shopouch?
Yeah, the purpose of this resolution is to apply for APA grant to improve the sewer system in the city of Culver and to replace existing sewage lift stations on water. There is no tribal match required, and I put that in formal motion.
Second. Moved in second. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 6 is a resolution authorizing an access and utility easement over trust land in Adair County, and we're granting that, or suggested to be granted to Robin and Annie Kimball for access and utility easement. Mr. Martin?
Move for approval.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I have an announcement. The Tribal Council inauguration is this Saturday at 11 a.m. here at the Tribal Council Chambers. It's a youth Tribal Council inauguration. Ms. Shophouse?
I want to recognize the youth council from Delaware County, President January and Ms. Letos, Delilah, and Joyce Henson, my mom is like, hey,
Would you please stand? Ms. Count Watts?
Madam Speaker, I believe we have Angela Pettit here from CNI, and due to the weather, she would have been on this agenda to be confirmed, and I believe she's here from Stillwell. Is that correct? And, while she's here, I know it's late, but we go ahead and amend the agenda to forward that confirmation of her CNI appointment to the CNI board as the employee representative.
You hear that motion?
Yes,
I'll
please.
second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on amending the agenda?
Madam Chair, just for clarification point where I know we had other nominees, but did we vote to bring them to full council for subcommittee?
No, we did not.
Is that kind of a problem, parliamentary?
Oh, I understood that Mr. Hembry said she was.
Her nomination was approved out of Rules Committee today. It's if you wish to amend the agenda right now, she's here, and it would be appropriate if that's your desire.
Call for question.
Question's been called. All in favor of amending the agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, now are you moving to,
I'd like to move to recognize or confirm Angela Pettit as the employee representative to the CNI board.
Second.
moved and seconded. Any discussion? All minds clear? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of adjournment? Aye. All opposed, same sign.
That's a football game.